Bakani Dug.
Oh.
Nindash Money Do Nudin and Dishinikas Bishu and Do Dame. Watawasa Gaigan and Dunjuba. In keep Paminiga our Sema. Awish Gode Kwe. We ne Dajima da O. Nia Wete. Na Ish Gode Kwe. Minoa da Shivo Dianne Sullivan. Jaganashimud. Mamindige Baki Ishinekanigu Omasanogum Niminwenda Mamaya Nogum New Jaganashim. So good afternoon, everybody. I want to welcome everyone here to our Honor the Earth powwow. This portion is the Anishiaabekwe recognition, as Migazi had mentioned earlier. My name is Jason Schlender. I'm from Lakudere, and I've been given tobacco to say just some things here for my wa'a, Ishkodekwe, Dianne Sullivan. For those of you that know her, she's known all over the world as Baki, and so we're here to recognize her and acknowledge her for her journey, her contributions to many of us. And I stand here as a personal beneficiary of her love and her dedication and her stellar example of how to be an Anishinaabe person. So Dianne's creation story goes back, begins with Donald Sullivan and Mary Rose Fleming down in the dark auspices of Waukegan, Illinois. And so Donald and Mary Rose, they had a daughter, Dianne. Dianne spent many of her young years in Waukegan, in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. And it is two things I want to mention is just those foundations of her life, her parents, and the examples that they provided for her. When we talk about a pillar or an institution of a family, we want to really acknowledge Donald, her father Donald, grandfather to Michael here, and also great grandpa to his children as well. Donald was a strong, fine example of a father, but in addition to that too, he was a stellar golfer as well. But what he was known for, how I remember him a lot in our family, is he was one of the masterminds of the Cobra technology for Johnson Motors, Johnson Outboards. And so it was that example that Dianne carried forward, that dedication and that love. She would never, growing up here as a young adult, here Dianne and with our family, she would never ride in a boat that was motored by a Mercury motor. She'd always like hold her hand out like that and shoot like a pistol to kind of shoot that Mercury motor, because she was always really dedicated to Johnson Motors. So that's how I think about Baki. And so my relationship with Baki goes back to when I was a young child myself here on this reservation. And so Baki, or Dianne, she comes to this reservation about 1981. It was about 1970 when her mother, the other pillar in her life, that institution that she had in her life, was Mary Rose. And that's when Mary Rose began her journey of seeking out her culture and her spirituality, and also began her life of sobriety and assisting many people. In talking with Baki, and she would share stories of down in Waukegan, many of those Indian families kind of gravitated to her, Mary Rose, at that time, as they were seeking probably safety and security at a time of relocation for our tribal people. It was later on in Dianne's life that she moved to up here to be with her grandmother. Her grandmother was Marie Fleming, And she lived in Pakwewong. That's where her family's from, the Fleming family. And that's where she began her life of sobriety. And with her, she brought with her a little bundle of joy. Michael Donald Sullivan Sr., as you may recognize him, or Dr. Sullivan or Dr. Chimigiz. And she began her life not only seeking her own spiritual journey, cultural journey, but she did that as a single mother. And so that's about the time that I was introduced to her. I was introduced to Dianne and the family because my father was married to Agnes Fleming, and it was at that time that I was immersed in this whole kind of lovescape of Fleming Schlender connection, and so it's been my fortune to be a part of their family for many years now. One of my earliest memories with Dianne is that she had a house over in Drytown. For those of you that don't know, that are not from this community, we have a community called Drytown, and she lived over on this she kind of took over a residency of her mother's house and kind of picked up that same work. And this is around 1985, 86. At that time, before Mary Rose passed away, that house was a house to many, a foster home. And when I went over to that house, my brother was living there. My brother Justin was staying there with Dianne, and Dianne had taken him in. So it was at that time that I kind of became immersed in this whole Anishiaabekwe, Baki world view. At her house, there would always be we could watch movies and eat popcorn and tease and laugh and play football inside the house and outside the house, no matter day or night. And so it was at that time that she was, along with her sister Melody and her sister Becky, kind of followed in the footsteps of their mother Mary Rose as far as advocating for sobriety in this community. I remember as a young kid, Dianne and Melody and Becky and us young kids, we were up at the store, it's now the country store, it used to be the Fairway, or the marketplace, and so they wanted to sell alcohol there. And so we went up there and we were the first ones to protest against that, of them selling alcohol at our tribal store. And that's kind of like how life was as children. We were kind of just dragged around and went to all these different things, peer counseling meetings and different teen events to how to live a life in a sober way. And for a long time as children, it worked for us. In our younger years, we carried out those tenets of sobriety as their family had wanted. So as our lives kind of moved forward and gravitated forward in progression, with all of those successes and those good stories came tragedy as well. In the early 2000s, Dianne was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she was, she endured that journey and was able to overcome that. And now her breast cancer is in remission, and she was able to beat that. And so it was that strength that example that she provided for us. And I remember talking to her many times about that, how she felt. And she never wanted anybody to feel sorry for her. She was always, you would never really tell that she was afflicted with any disease or sickness. The only way that you could tell is when she lost her hair, when she shaved her head. And so it was, So it was during that time that she endured that struggle. And I think through the power of her prayer and the power of the prayer of many of us, we spent many times advocating for her life, her life to the money dug and those things. And the evident truth is that it is for sure that the Spirit took pity on us, took pity on her, and granted her an extension of her life. And through that extension of her life, the evidence of that was that she was blessed with the birth of her first grandson, Anishiaabekwe. So Anishiaabekwe, when he was born, they have a special bond, Baki and Nishu, because I think their birthdays are around the same time. And so she's always quick to share her reverence for that connection. And when we know that there is no such thing as a coincidence. Everything happens for a reason. There's a reason why these blessings happen to us. And she's always first to advocate that Nishu was one of her great blessings, her initial blessings after overcoming her sickness. And so after that, I think through her healing and through her wellness and through her recovery with that, and also with her sustained sobriety, she gained even more knowledge and wisdom. And she shared that, and she's always willing to share that with more of us. With that is I think with the power of her resilience and her example, it kind of permeated to many of us. Many of us benefited from that example. It was from there that, I think many of us at that time started to mature and grow up. We kind of put those things aside that were kind of keeping us and stunting our own personal growth. And it was that with her son, he began his journey as well. And so they kind of started their own journey together. Her healing as far as recovering from that sickness, and also her son's journey of academic prowess and motivation to what would eventually become the revitalization of our Ojibwe language. Her son is known all across the world for his efforts to save our most precious sound, but he's also one of our gifted song makers in our communities, as evidenced yesterday by one of those songs that he composed for one of our late and great elders, Wabashkibane Siban. And so as that journey moved forward for Dianne, for Baki and her family, Mike would continue with his own journey and fortify his own institution with himself using Baki's example. So himself and Kristen began kind of creating their own family, and with Kristen and Mike came Nishu and Preston. I always say Preston because that's how I always hear it from Kristen all the time, or Mike. Where's Preston? No, but Manidu Bane Shinsug, so he's always one of our stellar nephews in our community, and Ogimagi Jigukwe. Lexi after Preston, and then finally their last blessing was Jawanose, Lenny. So how that correlates to what I'm talking about is the example that Baki has provided to us, an example that Mary Rose set for us, for many people in our community, the extension that goes out to many of her relatives as well. And so with that success became tragedy once again. Well, before, let me get in. I forgot one part. I'm sorry. Try to get everybody's hanging on the edge of my story here. So, another success that I want to share with Baki is following Dr. Sullivan's success, her son. She was inspired by him, and she pursued education for herself. And in 2017, she was able to accomplish and become a master of counseling and treating addictions, afforded to her by the Hazelden Betty Ford Institute. For many of us, that whether you know or not, Hazelden is one of the renowned counseling institutions in the world. Many celebrities and those ones afflicted with addiction go there to seek help with their addictions, and so Baki was granted her master's degree at that time, and then so as I mentioned earlier, with those successes that we all enjoyed, even myself included, I was able to get my master's degree, and those things, as we kind of paralleled our own academic journeys, tragedy came in and swooped in again, and kind of hit the family hard once again. It was at this time that Dianne was once again diagnosed with cancer of her esophagus, and it was another trying time. So, but as we have done, and as we will always continue to do, we kind of hunkered down, and we collected ourselves, collected our prayer. And I told Baki at the time when she was sick, I said, if you can just excuse me for a second. So when Baki told me once again that she was sick and that she's going to need some more assistance, some help, and some prayer. And what I told her, I said, Baki, I'll probably put hundreds of pounds of tobacco on the earth. I'll probably put hundreds of pounds of tobacco on the earth to save your life. And I think that I don't want to say it was solely my, about me, but I would say that part of my hundreds of pounds of tobacco that I contributed to our Mother the Earth, she was blessed once again with an extension of life. We sat with her in her hospital room, and during her recovery, as she dealt with the reconstruction of her esophagus, learning and teaching herself how to utilize those newly constructed parts of her body. And so we're fortunate that she continues in her most vibrant way to be with us still. But during those times of dealing with that, she was, and I say this in the most pleasant way, she was rightfully so quite the bear. She would let people know her limitations and what her capacity and what she was willing to endure. But we stayed with her. We stuck with her. We helped her through that, and we're so thankful for that. In addition to all these things we've mentioned, as far as her sobriety and her passion for education and culture and her love for her family, one other thing that if you know Baki, if you know Dianne, and if you know our relationship as Sullivans and Schlenders, growing up in Waukegan, if there's one other thing that if there's one thing that the Money Dude could do to help us, she's still passionately a Chicago Bears fan. She just won't give it up. So for years, for decades, we've been battling each other since 1985. And that was essentially the last time that the Chicago Bears were relevant. Am I right? I know we got one other Bear fan, I think, around here. And so with that, I think, we share these success stories, these stories of sorrow and tragedy, but there's also stories of resilience, and also, as I mentioned lastly here, our humor that has really kept us standing up straight. And that's one thing that we're really proud of. Dianne Baki Anishiaabekwe, she is, as I mentioned, she is always, she'll watch Packer games with us and still be a Bears fan, and all those things. And back in the day when the Bears were good, she'd always call us and say, if the Packers were close to beating the Bears but they would lose, or if the Packers would lose, she'd always used to call and she'd sing this song to us all the time. You're a dreamer, nothing but a dreamer. I'm not the best singer, so I apologize to, I think, who's that, Rush? Is that Rush that sings that? Or I don't know, whatever rock band sings that. I'm not even sure, but I remember that, and I'm so thankful for those occurrences. So in conclusion here today, before they start grand entry, I just want to say I'm just honored to be a part of her life. As I mentioned in my short little Ojibwe introduction there, she is my wa'an. She is one of my namesakes, and she has done a beautiful job of guiding my life and providing stern direction at times, but also comfort and compliment as well. And so I just extend my love to the Creator. And I also extend my love to the family here today, and I am so honored to be able to just share just a little bit of what I recall and what I know about this beautiful, great lady that we know, that you all know as Dianne Sullivan, that the Money Dude knows as Anishiaabekwe, but for many of us that know personally as Baki. So with that, I just want to say, miigwech for the opportunity, miigwech bizandawye, miigwech to nimashomasinan in our negamoje gumasanongum, miigwech mio. So if we could have Dianne Sullivan, Baki Anishiaabekwe, how about a round of applause for Dianne Sullivan, this year's Anishiaabekwe. And with us to present a star quilt. And so this, presented by the Powell committee today is our newly elected Janet Porter from our Lakota Tribal Governing Board, and also her niece, Beijik Hunter. That star quilt was made and constructed by my mother-in-law, Maxine Babineau. Oh, sorry, really going back in the day. Sorry about that, Mike. But that star quilt was made by my mother-in-law, Maxine Babineau. And so at this time, we're gonna have the Badger Singers render an honor song for Baki here today. As you all know, maybe you know, or if you don't, her son Migizi sings with Pipestone, and her grandsons all sing with Hay Creek or with Fry Bread Nation. So it's up to the Badgers to sing a good honor song here today, and those boys want to sing with their Baki, or want to dance with their Baki here today. So we want to call all of Dianne's, all the Fleming Nation out there. Probably empty the stadium, but all of our relatives from the Fleming side of the family, come on out, dance with your relative.
Now, Max Y1 and boys, Anishiaabekwe singers, L.C.O Badgers for honoring our relative.